Got a little whirlpool action. Yeah, a little whirlpool action. So I did a flashlight out. I need my flashlight. Is it up here? So I did a little did a delivery. So we got back here. Got some love back here. But my house is a mess because I'm moving things around. But so I just wanted to put you guys up on some of you guys watch me, you ask me questions on how do you know stuff, how do you fix stuff, some very easy things to fix on refrigerators. How do you know, and what do you do, this, that, and the other? For one, I want to tell you guys that you're going to need a few things to help you out when it comes to fixing refrigerators, all right? You're going to need some stuff now. Screwdrivers, basic stuff. Going to need one of these. This is a heat tester, pretty much. Laser point tells you how hot it is, cold it is. That's what I call it, a heat tester. I don't know what it's called. So it's 13 degrees in there, all right? Which is great. That's cool. 36 degrees in there. That's cool. This is the refrigerator that belongs to this apartment. So it's 1 degrees, right? Okay, cool. But you notice something. So it's 43 degrees. All right. So you notice something. The motor's not running on that one. Motor's running on this one. All right. So that means it's cooling down. So give it a minute or two. It's going to hit, probably going back down to 0 degrees. Another thing that's going to help you is one of these bad boys here, leak detector. These are very inexpensive. These don't cost much. You can turn the sensitivity up all the way to 5 to see if you have a leak. Now, this is what I did for the lady that I got this fridge from. But when I did this, it went straight off, and a customer was there. Well, the tenant was there. So, I closed the door again, and I said, I think you have a leak. I did it again. I went in, had a leak detector on. It went. I said, "Yeah, you have a leak in here somewhere." Now you see it's running fine. It's cooling just fine. Like I said, it was 13 degrees. What is it now? It's gonna go up a little bit. It's 17 degrees. But you see the fan is on. It's cooling down. Now I want to say something. How did I know it had a leak? I had to watch a few videos. Now, I took all this apart. I'm not going to do it now. I took all of this out. Let me turn this off. I'm going to turn it back on here in a minute. But for you guys asking me questions about fixing refrigerators, this is some basic stuff. So what I did was I took this panel off. And there's some screws right here. Boom, screw. Take the screw out. Take these out right here. So you're going to need yourself, you're going to need the ability to take these screws out. So I used a Phillips head. Take this screw out, and I use this, so I get that, to take these out. Boom, boom, reach right back there, take those out. These pop out, pops out, and it'll look like that in the back. So you just, boom, take that right out. You know what I'm saying? All right, so once you take this out, you're gonna see the fan. You can hear the fan in the back, right? Now, you're also going to see all the workings in the back. And now, if you see ice in one spot that's not flowing all through the condenser, you just see ice in one spot, that means you have a problem with the Freon flowing through the condenser, which means you might have a leak somewhere. So when I tested it, I was correct. And my leak detector went off, beep, 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 beep. That means I had a leak somewhere. Now, another thing about 134A, once you guys get into this, you'll notice this stuff. There's a lot of different gases that go into refrigerants. 134A is common for older refrigerators. This one's 5 years old. The newer refrigerators, they might use a 290, which I haven't dealt with. Your air conditioning is going to use a 420 or something like that. And then you have the 600RA or the 600A. That's going to come in your newer refrigerators. You know what that stuff is? This is what that is. It's butane. That's what's in your refrigerator. So be careful if you're going to start messing around with these things and it says 600A because it's very explosive. However, 134 is not. But what 134 is, it's heavier than air. So when the gas comes out, the gas usually doesn't float up here somewhere. What happens is the gas will start dropping down, all right? When it does, sometimes you can tell there's a leak inside here, inside of your refrigerator. So you'll be like, oh, okay, well, there's a leak inside here, and you'll start, testing in here, and you'll be like, okay, but there's no condenser in here. There's no condenser in here, so where's the leak at? Well, the leak is in here. It's where the condenser is here. All right, just a little something I've learned on the way. Anyway, so that's cooling down. Now let's go back here where the fun is. I don't know how good you guys can see this, but here you have your motor. It's another condenser fan. Here you have your my hose set up right here, a little hookup. And here you have your Freon, all right? So I just use regular Freon, 134A. This is great stuff because you can buy it at Walmart for $20. You can buy it at your gas station. This stuff just, it's everywhere. You can buy this stuff. Now I went to a refrigerator parts store and they tried to tell me that this 134A was different than the 134A that they were selling for $600 in a big old can. And it's not. It's the same thing. How do you know? Because right back here, it'll say 134A. All right? So don't let no, all right? People will try to, tell you all kind of goofy stuff, but don't listen to them, A lot of stuff you're just going to have to learn from experience. But this is where you'll find that information right on the back here. You can't see it because it's in small letters, but it'll say 134A. It'll tell you the high side, low side, 115 to, what it say, high side, low side. It'll say the hertz on how many hertz this is putting out. It'll say how much gas goes in it, which is, only 1 because it's so small. Usually the big ones take about, big whirlpools side by side take about 2.9, and then that measurement is here. So right here is where when you're gonna put your gas in, because this told you how much gas to put in it. Right here. So this green right here means it's low. If it's in this green, it's low. You start at the lighter green. So 0 starts here and it goes up. Now, I haven't put all the Freon in here that it can take. The reason why I haven't did it is because I wanted to leave some room to put in some stop leak refrigerant. This refrigerator has a very, 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 very small leak in the condenser coils up top where their freezer is. That's why the lady didn't understand. She was like, 5 years, I've had it, and all of a sudden it won't cool. When I first came in the door, I was like, okay, it won't cool. It could be anything that could not make this cool. But the first things you want to look at is you want to check the temperature in the freezer. You want to check the temperature in the refrigerator because the freezer could be cooling, but the refrigerator's not. But if both of them are going out, you're looking at a Freon problem. You're looking at maybe the motor isn't working. Maybe the fan isn't working in the freezer. Maybe the fan isn't working back here. Something's not pushing freons through there. So now you got to try to figure out what it is. Well, when you listen, a lot of times you guys don't have to do anything. Just listen. You're listening. You can hear the fans. You hear the fan in the freezer. You hear the fan, the condenser fan back here. You're like, okay, fans are working. Check that off, right? So if the fans are working, you can also check off things like your switches here. That turns the motor on. This switch right here. A lot of time, this switch will go out. It'll go click, then it'll go click again. This switch is like $60 right here. I forgot what it's called. A compressor switch. That's what some people call it. But this switch right here will go out. $60. Boom, fixed, right? So boom, but if you don't hear that double clicking, this switch is working. And you also know because the compressor itself is on. So the switch is working if the compressor's on. So you feel the compressor. Now be careful with this. It can go up to like 300 degrees. So be careful, but if you get close and you're just like, hey, this is not bad. This also tells you a lot if you can touch this. It tells you that the freon is not stuck somewhere. Now, also what that tells you is this right here. Now, when I can touch a compressor and the freon is not stuck, that tells me that it's going through this filter right here. This filter is okay. A lot of times this is your problem. This filter right here will cause you some headaches. So, then you have to do some welding because you have to take this off, put one back on there. And there's a way to do it that's not that hard, but nonetheless, you need some extra gear to do that. Plus, you're going to need to, take all the gas out of your system. Then you're going to have to put gas back in the system after you know that this is sealed. So this is a sealed system. And there's stuff that you're going to need for that. So it's not that simple, but it's not that hard. But nonetheless, this filter I know is good if I can touch this. Now, some people are going to say that's complete nonsense, but I just dealt with a refrigerator where I know the filter was bad. And I thought that on that other Whirlpool was a bigger one. It was a 3-door. I thought because it was a different kind of compressor, phase 2 compressor. And what was happening is the compressor was running, but it wasn't going into both of its phases. And it turns out that it needed some parts to it. One, this filter was probably causing me some headaches because there was a buildup. Another thing is the 3-way valve I thought was broken because it wasn't activating. And I found that out because the heater wasn't working. So I said, why isn't this heater coming on? So there's a lot of investigating you guys have to do. And I said, okay, why is my heater not coming on? Why is my defroster not coming on? So I followed the defroster wires all the way down to the compressor, to the 3-way valve, which is not here. And I followed it all the way up to the motherboard, which is not here. But that motherboard also had this connected to it. All right. So there's some investigating you guys are going to have to do. But this is on a different Whirlpool. This is not this one. But I had this connected to it. And what did I find? I found the wires right there. I said, you guys are the same wires that go to my heater that's in the freezer of that other refrigerator. That had the phase 2 and all that other stuff. But I replaced this, and then my 3-way valve kicked in, and then, you could hear everything activating. But it still didn't cool down all the way. Why? Because of the filter. That filter took out that filter really messed things up. So I would have needed to change the filter. I didn't have the stuff to change it. So I had to let that refrigerator go. And I put a lot of work into that refrigerator, but it was working at one time. But yeah, things like this will take a refrigerator out, and that filter will take this out. So be careful. It's like 50 bucks, but brand new, it costs more than that. So be careful, you guys. Start investigating. If you're going to get into these refrigerators, start learning more about it, because little things can happen. You see little buildups in ice on your number 2 copper. You're like, why is the Freon stuck there? Because it's not flowing through the system. Now you have to find out why it's not flowing through the system. Then you have to do all kind of work. And that can get pretty intense. But I'm saying all that to say this. With this computer, with this refrigerator here, just from that knowledge that I gleaned from my last experience, I knew that filter was working. So I went ahead and put some Freon in here. I didn't add it all the way up to the pressure it should be, but I will once I get some stop leak. And boom, and that's it. And a lady bought the refrigerator that I sold her. She bought one for me altogether it came to $300. And then I took this one from her. And now this one's working just fine. And I'm gonna sell this one for $200. So just letting you guys know some of the issues I've run into with refrigerators, and some of the things that can help you guys out who are just starting in school for this. I'm a DIYer, bullet valve, here's your bullet valve. I'm a DIYer. You guys can ask me questions about refrigerators, and I'll give you my best answer, but I'm still learning. I enjoy working with refrigerators. There's your pump right there, your water pump. This one does come with water, so it's pretty cool. And another thing is, if I can't figure out what's wrong with the refrigerator, I will go ahead and sell the pieces. So you guys who are, you have refrigerators and you give up on it and you don't know what to do with it, blah, 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 it's a piece of junk. Let me tell you something. This plastic drawer, this came from, I think, a Samsung. This right here, these things go for like $200. So if you guys are gonna give up on your refrigerator, take out the plastic. Take the plastic out. And what I mean by plastic, I mean like this here. Take the plastic out. This is to a Samsung. Of course, I'll take these off. I just sold one of these for $60 on eBay. Take out the plastic. Remove all the plastic if you can. You think the metal is what is expensive? No. Let me show you what's expensive on these refrigerators. These. Now you're like, this is not that expensive. Brand new, this probably costs about $70, $80. But these aren't brand new, but you can clean them up real nice. You can sell these for $30, $40 each. You're looking at $120 each right here. Or I'm sorry, for all together, or you can sell them all together for $100, however you want to do it. Take the plastic out. This right here, you can sell that for $60. And I know you can sell these for this prices because I've been doing it. I've been selling them on eBay. These crispers here, people love these crispers. $80. $80. You can sell those crispers for. Take the plastic out. And they're nothing to store. Take them all out. Take out the crispers. You know what I'm saying? That's what people really want. Why? Because the plastic breaks all the time. People have these refrigerators, these fancy refrigerators, and they don't want to get rid of the refrigerator, you know what I'm saying? And a guy came to me, he saw that I do refrigerators. He was like, you know what, man? My mother has this refrigerator and broke one of the the door, whatever. He was like, man, I need one of those. And then I said, man, you're going to pay $80 for that. He went on eBay, found it for $50. Altogether, paid about $60 or so, $65, tax and all, plus delivery. Keep these little things right here, you guys. You're looking for a nice little side hustle, something that little $60 that just drops in your account every now and then. It just drops in your account. You get a notice from eBay, hey, somebody made an offer. What? An extra $50? Who can't use that? I'm trying to tell you guys, these right here, $50, $60 right there. Keep the plastic. It's nothing. It's nothing to keep the plastic, you guys. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing. So, this came off a Whirlpool. Look at this. See that? This is what people want. They got these nice refrigerators. They want this. They want this stuff. They want it. Now, how you do this is, when you have one of these, if it came from a Whirlpool or a Samsung, whatever, the way you do it is you find the serial number. All of these have serial numbers to them. See, the serial number is right there. You can barely see it because of the light. But you find the serial number. You go on to eBay, you pop in a serial number, this item is going to show up. When you use your phone and you want to list, you say, hey, I'm going to list this item. It's the same item they have. Then you put in your price. See that serial number right there? That serial number is money. That's money right there. This right here is money. People throw it away all the time. They don't want it. This is money. Money right here. Serial number. That's it. You look up the serial number, and they're on the back of all of these. And these things are nice. They're nice. If you got some crispers that aren't cracked, look at this. You wash them out, clean them up. See, there's no cracks or anything. It's not all beat to hell. This is what the people want. Serial number right there. And you just take your time. Now, I ain't saying store up a whole, big old thing of these, but if you're getting rid of a refrigerator, you guys, and you don't want it no more, take it to the junkyard. You're going to get about $26, $27 for it. But before you do that, take out the crispers. If they're good crispers, I'm trying to tell you, now you're going to go from, $27 to you're probably going to get $200, $300 out of that refrigerator just for the crispers. I do it all the time. Now, sometimes you can sell other things like this motherboard. I could sell this motherboard. This motherboard is going to sell for eBay. It's going to sell for $50, $60. No big deal. But you know what the big deal is? This. This piece right here probably sell for $150. $150, $60. This crisper right here, old crisper, $80. I sold one of these to someone who lived in like Hawaii or whatever. They paid the shipping for it. It came to like $160, more than that, I think. Because I told him, I said, listen, you're going to have to pay for the shipping. And because the box is so big that they need it, once I told them how much shipping costs, they were like, I'll pay for it anyway. People want these things right here because there's no cracks in them. People care about the aesthetics. These are old. People are still going to buy those. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of stuff, so I got this stuff in them. I just got rid of all my refrigerators. I got rid of all of them. But another thing, I sold one of these before. Ice maker. Easy sell. There's the information right there. Easy sell, you guys. Easy sell. Boom. There's the information right there. Put it right online. Put it on eBay. I'm going to tell you what, if you sell on Amazon, you're going to get more. But Amazon charges you $40 for a month if you have something listed. So if you want to make more money, if it's worth it to you, yeah, but if you're not selling a lot, don't go on Amazon, go to eBay. But if you're really flipping, if you're out here like flipping hard, go to Amazon. You'll make a killing. But there it is. Now here's the thing. How do I know this ice maker works? Now, when this ice maker was installed, there are some things that you can do to test your ice maker. For one, this came out of a Whirlpool. So there's already a computer test for it. But there are some other things that you can do to test ice makers. You know, sometimes you have to go in through the ports, the wires, and see if it's getting enough voltage. Sometimes you have to do a wire trick. I don't know if you can do it on this one now, where you put the wire in two holes and make it electronically activate. But there's all kind of things that you can do to see if an ice maker is working or not. It's it can get tricky, but hey, there's an ice maker. I know that it works. I clean it up a little bit. Doesn't take much. Boom. I can get $70 out of this ice maker. Hell, even if I got a clean $50 out of it, that's $50 more than what I had. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys some refrigerator talk and encourage you guys on. And as I learn, I like to talk to you guys about how to do some of this stuff. Another thing is, let me tell you something. So this right here, I just bought this. This cost me, I don't even think it cost it cost $30 altogether, shipping and all. Now you're gonna need one of these, all right? It's a clamp meter. Now, when you're dealing with refrigerators, being a novice, which I still am, but I'm growing. A lot of times you're like, okay, why isn't this refrigerator cooling? So what do? You're all gung-ho. You're thinking, okay, let me check out the thermostat or the thermistors, and because they can cause a refrigerator not to cool or to cool too much. So you're like, thermostat, boom, okay, freezer thermostat. And you want to go in here and you're like, oh, I'm going to break this apart and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to spend all this time and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to get to the thermostat and, yada, yada, yada. Well, sometimes you don't even have to do that. Depends on the refrigerator. You're like, oh, I want to check the heater. I'm gonna go in here and see if the heater has continuity. No, you can come right back here. You can find out what wires are which. This white wire here. Boom. That white wire will tell you if your heater's working. You go in there, clamp on, turn this on. Boom. You want to know what voltage it is? See how many it's pulling? 1.69. Boom, right there. Clamp meter action. You guys, a lot of times you don't have to go to the extreme and break these things apart. You can navigate through these systems a lot more easily now because there's a lot more tech to it. Now you can go ahead and, bust into the refrigerator and, pull out your leads and all that other good stuff. When it comes to this one, you want to test the thermistor. Guess what? Where are you going to go? You're like, oh, where's the thermistor? Thermistor's in here. So what's going to happen is you have two bolts. See, 1, 2. You have to take those out and this whole unit drops down. All right. And when it drops down, then you're going to have to take your leads and go ahead and test the freezer thermistor and test the refrigerator thermistor by using your meters, right? But here's a problem. These leads will not fit into those holes because they're so small. So let me use these as an example. So you see these right here? If I wanted to test out this ice maker and see if it's getting voltage, I need to put these leads into here, right? That'll work. But what about if it's too small? And I just ran into this problem. So hold on. Let me show you guys what I had to do. Show you what I had to do. I had to do this. Now I just got these. I ordered these on Amazon. They came the next day. Now you can order a whole lead set. There's different kind of leads, but these are extensions to your leads. So you whip out your meters. I'm just gonna put this on continuity because when you're testing your heater, right? When you're testing the heater, you want to see if it has continuity. So you want it to. That's what you want to hear, right? Now, if you're testing a thermistor, it's different. But when you're testing a heater, you want to know, because a heater has no moving parts. It's just one coil that has to touch. But sometimes you can get, sometimes if it's not working, you're like, why isn't it working? Or is it working? I found this out too. I went in and tested the heater, and the heater was working. I was like, okay, this heater's working. It has continuity, but it's not turning on. That's when I had to go. And through the. I was trying to make my own leads. So this is how this works. And go in there. Ouch. They're very thin, so don't stick yourself like I just did. Yeah. They go on top of there, and so now, you have this Whirlpool here that the parts are smaller. I couldn't use the regular leads to test. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't use them to test these parts to see if the thermistors were any good. So I had to buy these leads, and now I can put these, these leads, boom. I can put them in the hole and test them. So you guys might have to, get some adapters for your leads. They're inexpensive. Guys. These are $7. Get them off of Amazon because these leads are too thick. They don't work. All right. They don't work. They don't work into the smaller spaces. These little spaces here, they'll work in here. But when it gets smaller for your smaller refrigerators, you're gonna have some problems. So you're gonna need different leads. So I found that out, and boom. But I found it out at home, so that's good because I didn't test. When I went to this customer's house, I did not test all of her stuff. I didn't test it because I made a quick assessment and I used information that I already had from years of doing this. And basically, I just did one of these numbers, did one of these numbers. And I tested the temperature with this, boom, boom. And then I said, okay, once I looked at there's no Freon in there, then I went back here. I unscrewed all these, boom, 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 boom. I did a test on this condenser here. I wanted to see if it was room temperature or around room temperature, 108, so that's fine. So I said, okay, it should be 98, 70 to 98. It was 68 in their house, so I said, okay, that's fine. I did a test on the compressor, 106, that's fine. So I felt the compressor. I said, this compressor is humming, so it's working. I listened to the compressor switch, boom, it's working. It wasn't doing anything weird like ticking and then turning off. I said, okay, well, all of this system is running fine. I looked at the fan. I said, the fan's running fine. I listened to the fan in here in the freezer. I said, that's running fine. And then now after all that leads you to go, maybe it's this. This is where your motherboard is. All right? So your motherboard's in here. Now, I thought it was the timer. This is something else you guys need to know. On the newer computers, with the newer the newer refrigerators, with the newer computers, the timer is in the motherboard. Now, on the older ones, the old Frigidaires, the timer would be sitting right here. So you can take a screwdriver and go click, and the whole thing will come on. That means you need a new timer. As soon as you hear that click, so some of you guys who have this problem at home where you're getting frosting, up here, and you're not even pulling this off. You're just like, oh, this is frosting up. There's a bunch of frost here. These are no frost refrigerators. There should be no frost at all on here. All right, there should be you'll see a bunch of ice and frost building up. When you guys are having that problem, a lot of your issue could be coming from your timer. Your timer's not working. Now the timer is either here, if it's not connected to, if it's not on the newer ones, or it's here. It'll be right up under here, either here or in the back. So sometime your timer's sitting right up under here, you guys. All right, just to let you know that, because I found that out at a customer's house. But then you go to your motherboard after you do all that investigating in the back. You go, motherboard. This motherboard is out because the timer's not working. The timer's connected to the motherboard. You need a new motherboard. The motherboard for this is $207. That's how much it is. But then after I did some investigating, I said, nah. I was getting ready to get into my motherboard. And I went in here, and I had already taken this apart, and I saw that there was just a big chunk of ice in there, and it told me that I had a problem with my Freon. And that's how I fixed this. I'm telling you guys all this so so you can take this video, you can go through the little things that I'm telling you and investigate yourself, just little stuff. Another thing is, if you're getting a bunch of frost in here, and you think everything is working fine, sometimes it's this, your seal. So you can take a piece of paper and slip it in here, and if the paper falls down, your seal is broken. It's not meeting the refrigerator. Same thing here. These seals are $140. That's just for the seal. For some of you who live in a household full of people, just like, this last customer, she had this little refrigerator packed. This refrigerator is 26 wide, I believe. 26, 20, in between 26 and 28. I think it's 26. And she had it packed. Here's another problem you guys are having. You're taking a bunch of food and you're packing it here, and this is where the fan is, and this is where your cool air is coming from. You're blocking this, and what's happening is, if you're blocking this right here, that cool air is going back in on itself, and what it does is it starts to freeze up. So it'll freeze from the top where the Freon's coming through, because it comes through like this, right? It comes through here, and it'll come through there, boom, 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 and it snakes down like this. It'll start freezing up, boom, just like that. Then this whole thing will be frozen, and what happens is you'll hear the fan going real loud because it's clipping that ice. Stop packing these freezers, because when you do that, you're gonna cost yourself about $300 or more. Move that stuff around, make sure it's not sitting in the back, move it. You know what I'm saying? Move the tray up a little bit. You can still close it though. No, you can still close. Move the tray up, don't pack it all the way in the back, because now you're causing yourself some problems. And then you'll notice that your milk and stuff is starting to get warm. Why? Because you packed your freezer too tight. Okay? They actually had the milk sitting up here. They had the milk in the freezer. So it's another thing I noticed. I was like, the milk is sitting in the freezer? Yeah, because they were trying to keep it cold. So the refrigerator that I bought them, here's another thing, you guys. You guys in these funky houses. So they had kind of like a built-in space for the refrigerator. So it was some kind of wooden thing too that they could probably remove and get rid of a lot of problems. But it was this space, but the space was only 30 and a half. And this fit in it nice. But what the lady did was she ordered a refrigerator that was 35. And I told her, I said, lady, I kept telling her, this fridge that you're ordering from me is 35. The refrigerator that you got in there is an apartment size, meaning it's 29 and under. So I take it there, we measure, but I didn't take it in the house, thank God. And boom, of course, it's too small for the 35. I had to go all the way home and bring back the refrigerator that did work. And it was 29, so it fit in there like tightly. So that's another thing, you guys. If you got these small spaces and you're looking for another refrigerator, measure the space before you start asking about the refrigerator, because it's not going to fix, and you're going to piss off your delivery person, because refrigerators are heavy. All right. So I wanted to say that. Another thing is, if you guys live with more than, if it's just more than you, and you're starting to have problems with your refrigerator, a lot of times it's not the refrigerator, it's you. So what you'll do is you'll come in, you get your morning breakfast, your eggs, whatever. You'll close the refrigerator, right? Refrigerator's closed. What happened is the wife or whoever, the husband, will come down. They're gonna want to eat their bagels and cream cheese. Refrigerator closed. The kids will come down. You got your teen will come down. They want their orange juice and their toast. The fridge will close. The preteen will come down. You get what I'm saying? What's happening is this refrigerator is not being able to cool because so many people are in and out of it. And then sometimes what happens is somebody will come down and they'll do, if this fridge doesn't have a soft close like this one does, see how that's a soft close and it closes all the way? If your fridge doesn't have that and your fridge is doing one of these numbers, that warm air is getting in there. That refrigerator is not going to cool. See that? Sometimes if you see frost in here, that's what's happening. It's just the refrigerator is not closed all the way, but you think it is. So be careful with that. This is a very nice refrigerator, well made, well made. But not all refrigerators are doing that. And in some of these refrigerators, even though they're newer, they're not closing all the way, and you guys don't know this, and it's causing warm air to go in there and frost that up. And eventually, you're probably wearing out some of the parts on the refrigerator, causing it problems. The fans in these refrigerators, they're plastic. They're not hard to break. They're just a little, it's just a little motor in there. These fans are not built for to be knocking up against ice. And as soon as they do, you're going to break that fan. Now, I also want to say that a lot of times these fans just go out. So save yourself some money. And there's a few things you can do when these fans go out. One of the things that you can do when a fan goes out is, for one, you can listen. You can easily take the screws off the back of this thing and look and just see if the fan is on. You're going, oh, this fan went out. Let's call, Anthony over here and pay him $175. No, don't call me. Do not call me. Get yourself a screwdriver. One right there. There's another one in there. Boom, disconnect it, pop it out, pay $79 for a new one or a used one for $30, $40. Pop it back in. Don't call me. Don't call me. Don't call me. Do it yourself. Pop that fan back in there, problem solved. Some of you don't know, like I had a thunderstorm last night. Everything kept going off last night. My lights were flickering last night. So what did I do? I unplugged my refrigerator and I put it on a surge protector. I took it right out of the wall. I said, no, because it was plugged in here. I said, nope, I'm going to plug it right into a surge protector. And you know what happened? A surge came through, click this right off. If that surge would have run up into my refrigerator, guess what? It would have blew my heater. It'll blow your heater. It'll blow your thermistors, your thermostats. It'll blow your motherboard. It'll blow your compressor switch. It'll blow them right out. And you guys go, oh, it's not working. I don't know what happened. I'll say, was there a thunderstorm here recently? You go, yeah. All right, well, now I got to start my diagnosis because a thunderstorm came through and I got to find out what exactly it blew out. And if it blew out a motherboard, well, and you want a new one, $270 plus me to put it in. Then I got to test if anything else went out. Don't call me. Get yourself a $30. That's $30. Don't call me. $30. Right there. Boom. Just saved you $300. Don't call me. Don't call me at all. $300 because I'm going to charge you. And I want my money. Some of y'all don't be wanting to pay me. Give me my money. I'm looking for my flashlight. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, I got it in my pocket. I think I got it. Yeah. Don't call me. These things are still to fix until it gets competitive. And you got to deal with when you got to start taking off valves and sticking, it can get a little bit competitive, but this stuff is easy. This stuff is easy until you really got to get into the system and pressurize. But there's your information right there. Let's see if I can get this to come back a little bit. There's your information right there. 134. There it is. You can just look this up online, read all about it. Tells you how much gas goes in, and then that's when you come over here, and that's when you put that amount of gas in. But like I said, I don't even have it in yet. Almost. But this is not leaking now. It's doing great. Plus, you can hear the Freon going through the system. I also want to say, when you want to do just some simple tests, right? You're like, okay, this lady says something's wrong with the refrigerator. You come in, you find out that the switch isn't turning on. The compressor's not turning on. You think the switch is bad. You hit the electricity and you find out that the switch is good. And you listen to the compressor, and the compressor is not coming on. But what it's doing is it's trying to ignite. It sounds like a starter. Like, that type of thing. You're like, okay, the switch is good. We have enough power. You test the power. You make sure you got at least 120 coming out of here. Now, on here, it'll say 115. 115 to 120. That's what it says on here. But in order to get these things to run and stabilize correctly, especially when it comes to starting them up, you need a lot of power. So you want this to be 120 coming out of here. So sometimes people go through a thunderstorm and they don't test their sockets, and their sockets are not grounded. I've had that happen. Lady was getting 114. So this is a big problem with a lot of your houses. One time I tested this lady's socket. She said, hey, every house on this corner is having this problem. They had to call the electric company because they weren't getting enough power. But then you go in here and you find out the compressor's not working. Making a loud, winding sound. This compressor's done. Or what's happening is, I dropped the phone. Or what's happening is, the compressor, once it starts, then it stops. It starts, then it stops. So you're like, okay, what's wrong? Now what's going to happen is you're going to have to unplug the refrigerator, take the switch off right here. When you take the switch off, you're going to see 3 prongs sticking out like that. You're going to have your black, your red, and your white. So you're like, this is not starting. Let me test them. You're going to have to take your leads, and you're going to have to see if this compressor is grounded. If it is, it's bad. Something grounded out the compressor, boom, it went out. All right? And you'll know because when you put your lead up against your, it's got the actual name of it, but when you put it up against one of the prongs and then touch it to the side of the compressor, it'll go beep. That means there is a closed loop. That means it's grounded. If it's grounded, it's not going to work. It'll go beep, 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 or it'll go beep, 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 beep. It's grounded. That's why it's not working. Something grounded out that compressor, and that's it. Now, in order to change it, depends on the refrigerator that you have. I've never done it, but I've watched enough people do it. You're going to need a few things, and it all depends on how technical you want to be and how technical the refrigerator is. You know, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a computer for one, because once you put the compressor in, you have to tell the refrigerator computer that you have a new compressor in there, or it's not going to work. So I've had that issue with a Maytag refrigerator. When I put in the new motherboard, I had to put in a code that came with the motherboard, or it would not have worked. So that's another thing, you guys. Look out for that. You go and plop a new motherboard in. Why isn't it working? Because it comes with a code. If you don't put the code into the refrigerator when you install that motherboard, it will not work. It will not come on. But once you punch that code in, the whole thing will come on. Another thing is, you have to, first you have to take it out, but that means you have to cut this number 1 and number 2 copper right here. Now, cutting this number 1 and number 2 copper is not that difficult. Let me see if I got a send my love to you, treat her better. That's the one that went out on me. I know I got one in here somewhere. That's how you test your electricity. That's one of the ways how I just use my leads from my meters. Here's a fan that we have. Thermistor. This thermistor, it still works. But I wanted to show you how you cut your number 2 for you DIYers. If I have one in here. You guys, if you guys are gonna go that route, I don't see it. I know I have one, but I don't see it. Might be out. Might be outside. Spanner wrench. You need your spanner wrench when you're dealing with washers and dryers. You're not gonna get that tub out of there if you don't have a spanner. Someone's trying to call me. I'm not gonna answer. All right, I don't have it in here, but it's not hard to cut your number 1 and number 2. I don't know why I don't have it in there. Let's see where I have it at. I moved all my refrigerators out of here. This isn't mine. This belongs to the company. This is a 3-way. I ruined it, but send my love to you. This is when you put gas in there, how you can see the gas using those shades right there. I don't know what I did with my wire cutter. Control boards. Anyways, so when you cut this copper here, you want to cut it. So you want to cut this copper, right? Of course, refrigerator's off. You already took out your Freon. You put it into a recovery can so you can put it back in here. Boom, you did that already. So there's no pressure in here, right? Because you're getting ready to either change this out or you're going to change something out. So where you cut this number 2 at, I think these are number 2, number 1 and number 2. See right here where this welded together? Yeah, that's where you're going to cut it at. Take your cutter and circle right around here. You're going to have to move stuff out the way. But once you cut that off, you can either cut it there or you can cut it actually here. Actually, this is better. But you see the compressor itself. This is where they put, see that right there? That's where they put Freon into it. Then they closed it off. But yeah, you have 4 of them. 2, and there's, on this one you only have 2 because it's a smaller one. So 1 and 2, and then you unscrew it, and then this pops right out. So yeah, you'll cut it here. I'm sorry, not here, here. Then you'll put in your new one. Then you'll go ahead and weld it from here into here. And depends on your welding setup. I don't know much about the welding setup. I've seen people do it with just a regular handheld. You know, I've seen people come in with, 3 types of gas and flush the system. And I seen a guy use 410 because he had a leak, and the leak was in here. The leak was inside of here. And basically, so what he did was he tore the back of this out because this coil's run all up through here. He tore the back of it out. He fixed the leak, and then he found out that the system still wasn't running all the way through. So he changed this right here, the filter, and then it still wasn't running correct. So what this genius did, which is, it just blew my mind. I was just like, what? He said that the copper has a lining on the inside of it. And sometimes the copper lining will cause the refrigerator to clog up. And it'll clog up and it'll all come into here, right? So even if you change this, eventually it'll go back bad again. So what he did was, to clean the system out, some people, they flush it with air, they flush it with a different type of gas. What this guy did, he used 410 gas. And he said, be careful with 410, because I think it's explosive. But the point is, he said, we just used a little bit, but 410 gas is heavier than the gas that was in it, which was probably 134A, and it flushed all the dirt out. Then he sealed the system back in, and the damn thing worked. So there's some trickery when you guys get deep into this thing, all right? But other than that, the majority of times, refrigerators are easy to fix. They're easy, even without messing with the compressors and stuff like that. And that's pretty much the point of this video. A lot of times, you guys can do it yourself. I encourage you, do not call me. Do not call a tech. Go on to YouTube and start asking yourself the question. And that's how I started. Later, I was upset, but I wasn't too upset. I said, how does this thing work? So I started with the guesswork. And once I did that, being that I sell refrigerators, people would start asking me questions I did not know. I would say, what kind of refrigerator is it? And then I went and started looking up all the possibilities of what could go wrong. And and then I would start showing up at people's houses, and I started doing house calls. 21. $43. I started doing house calls. And once I started doing house calls, I started learning everything. And that's just how I started. And I'm still learning every day. Hell, I just learned something yesterday I didn't know. How'd I do it? I went on to YouTube and I learned it. So I just want to encourage you guys, don't call a tech. Don't call us. Go to YouTube, look up your refrigerator. If you don't know what your refrigerator is, it tells you right there. All right? Tells you right there. If your refrigerator doesn't pop up, look up the brand of your refrigerator. All right? Let's look up Whirlpool refrigerators and just put in not cooling. You're going to see a bunch of DIYers. You're even going to see professional people because YouTube pays us. Even the professionals now who used to hold all that information to themselves, they don't do that no more. Because you can get thousands and thousands and thousands of followers on YouTube and you're constantly making money. They're like, why don't we just do this instead of holding back this information that everybody is sharing? It's already out there. Let's make money. And that's what they're doing. Now they're heavy into it. You can go to YouTube school now. You got people teaching who are professionals, their whole class is on YouTube. You used to have to pay for that. No, you can just sit right there and watch the whole class. Now, you can't get certified like that, but you can go online and get certified. So you got, I'm telling you, if you don't have time, I understand that. Then you call me. If you don't have time, but you have money, you call me. I'm going to charge you $300. I'm going to fix your problem. No problem. And if you have a bad compressor, I'm going to charge you half of that. Especially if I'm only there for less than an hour, I'm going to charge you $1.50. I'm going to go right back here. I'm going to do a little smell test, do a little listen test, pop out my leads, pop that switch off, boom, beep, 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 beep. You're grounded, you're finished. This is finished. And I'm going to tell you people, hey, you got a choice because that compressor is not going to work. Now, now listen, now, the lady who was talking to me about this refrigerator, she said she had a guy go out and look at her refrigerator. Now, when she said that, I'm talking to her on Facebook because she had asked about my refrigerator. You know what I said? I said, what's wrong with it? Then I told her all the possibilities. She said, I would rather have you go out there and look at it because you seem to know more than the guy I sent out there. People hustle. She had to pay me for the refrigerator, for the delivery, and for my knowledge. And now I got her old refrigerator because I have knowledge. I fixed this. I'll make $200 off of this refrigerator, plus what I made off of what I did for her. Don't call me. Go on to YouTube. Learn it yourself. Not unless you don't have the time and you have the money. That I understand. A lot of people don't have time. So this is another thing that I do. I will go online. I'll go on to Facebook and I'll see refrigerators that people don't want. And they'll say, we don't have time to mess with it. We're not sure what's wrong with it. And immediately I'll go, boom. Does it turn on? And once I start asking these people questions, they start answering me. Some people, they don't want to answer you, but some people are curious to how much you know. And then I'll start directing them to start doing things. They'll say, hey, you got a screwdriver? And they'll go, yeah. I'll be like, go ahead, open your refrigerator, do this, do that, and the third, and boom, boom, boom. Sometimes it fixes her problem. I sold a lady a Samsung about 4 years ago. She called me in and goes, hey, Anthony, you sold us this refrigerator years ago. Right now, it's not cooling. Can you come look at it? I said, yeah, it's going to cost you $1.50. She said, that's fine. Then I said, what's wrong with it? She says, it's not cooling. I said, what kind of refrigerator is it? She said, a Samsung. I said, do this button and this button. She did that. The refrigerator started cooling. Never heard from her again. Now, I could have went out there and got $1.50 from that lady. No. No. That lady's going to remember what I did. She's going to call somebody else that has, when somebody says, hey, I'm having a problem with my refrigerator, she's going to go call this guy. And that does happen to me. I go out to people's houses. I'm like, how'd you get my number? Somebody recommended you. So I'm just trying to tell you guys, it's a little side hustle. It's not a big deal. I'm not making millions of dollars. But everybody needs a refrigerator. Everybody needs electricity. Everybody needs a toilet. Everybody needs food. Everybody needs stuff. And if you can get in the vein of those needs, your house isn't going to look a damn mess like mine because I'm, doing stuff. But $300 is $300, people. Then the rest of this stuff is going to get sold. This right here is $60, $30, $40. This stuff right here is going to get $150 right here. This tray, $150 right there. Ice maker, $79. Somebody's going to buy it. Why? Because their ice maker went out. Most of this stuff here is going to get sold. This right here, $50, came off of a washer. $50. I'm not selling that right there. This is to your ice maker. That's going to get sold $60. That pump right there, that's going to get sold $40 for that pump. And you know where that pump is? Yeah, that pump is right here. See that ice maker pump right there? You see that in the back? Get close to it. That's your water pump right there. $70 right there. Sometimes that thing goes out because of a seal. One of the seals break and it starts leaking. I've had one happen. I sold a guy a refrigerator, the seal broke, and there was a waterfall in this refrigerator. He didn't even know it until the next day. There was water everywhere. I opened up the freezer and the whole thing was just frozen. It was frozen because there's a pump there. And inside of your refrigerator, that's where your ice maker goes, right there, right? Now, if you guys have a larger refrigerator, side by side, there is another pump in your refrigerator. So you have one there. Let me see. See right here. Yeah. So this, see, this goes to the other pump, but I don't have it. I don't have one. Yeah, I don't have it. This is part of an ice maker system. It goes to, yeah, see, this is part of the ice maker. Ice maker goes there. But there are two pumps in your larger refrigerators. Your side-by-sides and your 3 doors. There are two pumps. And two pumps. I got 2 phones. So here, this came out of a Samsung. Here's your filter system, all right? See, this is where your other pump goes to. Yeah. This right here is where the third pump is. So you have yourself one of these big old side-by-sides. There are 3 pumps. There's one in the back. There's one on the top wherever your filter is. This is the filter system. So this right here is $200. This whole system. And there's another pump inside here. Can you see it? See that blue pump inside of there? I'll turn it to the side. See that? That pump right there? Now you would think you can take this apart and take that pump out and use it, but you can't. $200 just for this right here. This whole thing is one unit. So if any of those pumps go bad, any of them, your system's cooked. You're not going to get any water. Any of these hoses, any of them, the whole system's cooked. You got to go in and find out which pump is not working. Now that is a headache. That is a headache and a half. Now for your washer and dryer, here's another pump. And there's only one. Washer and dryer action right there. Or excuse me, your washers. This pump is, if this goes bad, it's because of the seals inside of here. There are rubber seals in here. So they can go bad. So you just take this out. And sometimes this wire harness, sometimes the wire harness will go bad. So this is how you test it. You have to test it through the wire harness. Sometimes it's not getting the power it should get. So you have to test it through the wire harness. And this wire harness is sold separately. But if you're having problems with your water, with your washer, it's this right here. It's another pump. It's the same thing as, what's in there. It's pump. They're pump systems. But these systems are fragile. They're fragile, I'm telling you, and they cost a lot. So if you're having problems with your water system, and you have some of these big ass KitchenAids that weigh 340 pounds and just beautiful, with the soft closing doors and sliding, and one of these go out, you're not getting water. There it is. Or your filter, something's wrong with your filter system. This is what you need to check. But I'm telling you now, if you think it's going to be an easy, you're like, it's going to cost $60 and I'm done. Absolutely not. That whole thing right there alone is $200. Alone. It's not to mention what it costs to fix it. Because in order to get this out, you have to take out everything in the refrigerator part. You have to take out the actual filter and everything connected to it. And you have to take it out from the back of the refrigerator too. It's very involved. It's very involved just to get this out. It's a lot of work. So you're looking at an easy $500. Easy, because it takes hours to do it. I'm just letting you know now, you guys who have these really, really nice refrigerators, sometimes you guys are, and I'm saying this because I don't just work on the refrigerators. I've done promotions for them. Marketing and promotions. I've done promotions for them, Samsung and all that. And I know that when you order these, they're not easy to get a hold of. You're waiting for half a year to get your damn parts. Then you have to go scavenging for them. Crisper, $80. These two crispers, $80 each. This right here, $140 for this tub. Yeah. Even the handles, easy $60, $70. Crisper, $80 right there. I've sold one of those for $80. That crisper right there, I've sold one of them already, $80. I know this is a mess. I'm going to clean it up soon because I got to do some stuff. $140 right here for this. The plastic is more important than the metal when it comes to selling stuff. I know my house is a mess, but I did this on purpose. Because I'm going to clean everything up and pack everything I'm gonna pack all this stuff and throw all this stuff away, and I just got a lot of stuff to do. But I just wanted to talk about these refrigerators, you guys, because I see this over and over again. And I know a lot of people don't really care. But I kind of got a thing for helping people. And I got a thing for helping people, and it's cheap. This stuff is cheap, you know, $30, you know, 30, 40, 50 bucks. This stuff it's not that. I mean, it's accumulative. There's an accumulative cost, yes. I mean, these bullet valves aren't, you know, I go through these bullet valves all the time. These bullet valves right here in the blue box, I go through those all the time. Another thing is, if you're going to use bullet valves, you can't use the same bullet valve. You can't tighten a bullet valve. See, I use this one right here. That's what it is right here. This is a bullet valve, people. Once you tighten it up around there, you can't take this off of here because it punches a hole into this copper. Now, say I wanted to throw this refrigerator away and I wanted to save this bullet valve, I can't. Once you tighten this up around here, even if you took it off, you can't tighten it up around another one. So just to let you guys know, bullet valves are not reusable. All right. And there's more than one type of bullet valve. So yeah, there's that. Look at my pressure. My pressure is good. See how it's in the deep green? See how it's in the deep green right there? It's supposed to be in the light green. So it still needs Freon. But I'm not going to put Freon in it. I'm going to go and get some and put some stop leak in it because it has a very, very slow leak, I can tell. Yep, I can tell it has a very slow leak. Now, how long will it take for all of this Freon that I put in here to leak out? That's a question. And it comes to, you know, down to morals. This refrigerator is freezing. It's cooling properly. So morally, am I wrong if I sold it and I know it has a leak? I didn't tell anybody? Comes down to morals. I had oatmeal this morning. Am I wrong? People do it all the time. Yeah, I'm wrong if I do. I don't do that. However, if I fix the leak, I do tell people sometime I fixed the leak. Matter of fact, most of the time I'll tell them I fixed it. What was wrong with it? Had a leak. Some people are like, I'm good on that. I go, okay. I had some people come and look at a fridge and I told them how I fixed the leak and they were, I said, fine, I have another fridge if you want it. They didn't buy my refrigerators. You think I was upset about that? No. No, absolutely not. I said, hey, you don't have to buy this refrigerator. I'm okay. Why? Because I know they're going to sell. They're going to sell. So I'm going to go ahead and go, you guys. But I don't think anybody asked me any questions. No. Yeah. Thanks for listening. God bless.